and welcome to the 505 Circle, a platform which showcases inspirational stories and the journey of eminent thought leaders, creators from different walks of life. In today's episode, we'll be talking to Akhshay Gandhi. Akhshay, thank you so much and welcome to the 505 Circle.
Thank you.
Akshay, very interesting question. So, where do you see the Indian theatre ecosystem, headed to, and any best practices or tips that you would like to offer to any budding theatre artists?
I feel it's an important question, very important question, especially for the theatre artists. As a small community we should ask, and I feel we are not asking that question. Where it is heading, I think let's talk about where it is right now. So earlier, obviously, all the arts were supported through patronage or through personal funding, or an artist will figure out a parallel life which will fund the arts and make it. But now I think we are in a very interesting times because the times we live in, there have been amazing amount of work happening, different disciplines, from non-profit organizations to people trying to do things which are completely offbeat, and all of them trying to figure out things for themselves rather than depending on someone on a hierarchical pedestrian supporting you and you do your work, which I feel is very important. The times we live in is the times where we want to be more self-dependent, so that my art or the work I do should not communicate someone else's ideas, so that I can be more independent. And when I call independent, it's not just independence of making the art, it's also independence of the capacity with which you can make the arts. Right? We all have financial difficulties, we all have intellectual difficulties, creative difficulties, we have creative blocks and all of that. But all of that needs to be addressed, and I feel all of that is part of ecosystem. The creative blocks are part of ecosystem. The way I'm going to solve the problem of how my work will get perceived or how my work will exist is part of ecosystem. What are the artists who are putting their heart and soul into making this community grow matters to ecosystem. The art which is getting created matters to ecosystem. The people who are supporting the arts and people who are not supporting the art become part of ecosystem. The audience who are going to ultimately receive the art becomes part of the ecosystem. So it's an ecosystem which includes almost everything. The problem is, I feel, that there is always and there will always be a set of people who would like to guide the discourse. In one way it is important, and in one way it hampers the ecosystem. Because in the arts, ultimately the difference between arts and I feel other businesses or other industries is that art is very individual.
So it's an individual
journey,
freedom of mind.
It's very individual. At the same time, it is connected in reality. It includes, that is why it becomes very complex. Because I am present, at the same time I have a responsibility towards the land I live in, towards the system I work with. Right? I need to respect it. I can question it, but I need to respect the resources which I'm using, the air which I'm breathing, the safety which I have, right? So it becomes very complex in that way. And the solution, I feel, lie in understanding how our times are. Instead of imposing certain solutions. There are certain solutions which have been going on from past many years, and people are trying to repackage that or recreate that to suit their way. But the times we live in a time where it is possible to support yourself. And those are the solutions I feel as ecosystem we need to talk about. We need to talk about independent new solutions where I support my art and my art supports me. So the ecosystem at this moment, I think we are in a phase where we don't know what are our values. We don't know what are the agreements and disagreements we are okay with. We don't know it should be democratic, it should be hierarchical, or it should be a completely new system. As an Indian theatre scene, I feel that we are just on a very ad hoc basis. And that chaos will lead to multiple orders. And then I think there will be ecosystem. Because at this moment in time, because there are a lot of young people like me, I consider myself as an outsider. Because I come from a completely different background and jumped into this world where there are already existing artists who have been doing art for far longer than me. Right? So, and I will always feel that, oh my God, am I getting overlooked? Am I not getting acknowledgement? And all of these questions are important questions for ecosystem, right? So I feel at this moment, the ecosystem is at a place where it is figuring itself out. It is settling down. People are trying, including me, trying to influence the discourse in a certain way, which is good because all of us are contributing in the ecosystem in some way or the other, and it will slowly find its multiple orders. I focus on multiple orders because it should be multiple orders. There cannot be one order which dictates the arts, because it cannot, because it will kill the entire idea of the arts.
So if it is, you would like to go to budding.
Yes. So now, definitely. So this is good time to be in the arts. Yes. Come into the room. Really bring your ideas. Really bring your thoughts. Only thought which I would like to share is because I have trying to figure out my space in the world. Is that really work towards what you are passionate about. Well, ultimately, it's the passion because of which you come into the arts. If you compromise that, then it was not worth it. Yeah, it is not worth it. Really work on the craft of the field you are working in. If you are a painter, work on your craft. If you are a theatre artist, work on your craft. At the same time, cultivate your sensibilities. We are artists, we are not engineers. Right? I mean, engineers are artists in some way, but we need to cultivate our sensibilities. We need to really feel what is going on. And balance the creative sensibilities with craft. And I would say really invest time in that. Because investing time in the right fundamentals will shine our individualities and help us create our space, because this is the time to be in the arts in one way.
It'll be interesting to know what is the relevance of technology in theatre.